1, 2, go.
Nigeria's following to serve our father's land with love and strength and faith. The age of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to do one now.
We're going to invite special guests and our resource people to the high table now. We are very sorry for being waiting for this long. We start by bringing to the high table the man behind this noble idea, the man that has helped change the face of marathon in Lagos and of course in Nigeria. We call on Honorable Bukola Olapade to the high table. Yeah, of course we have the general manager for the Access Bank Lagos City Marathon in our midst, and he's in person of Yusuf Ali, we call him Skifo. One of our resource persons that will be speaking to us today. We have her here. She has been to a couple of marathons across the world. We invite to the high table Ms. Rose Enyenike. As we bring Ms. Rose to the high table, it's no coincidence that I have to keep this for the last. We have in our midst a presidential candidate, the one that is ready to take you back from the past of be. We call on to the high table the publisher for Shara Reporters and the ABC and Omoyele Sowore. Yeah, we have one or two more resource persons we are still expecting. Once they come, they will join us on the high table. Before we start this program, we would like to have a 1 minute silence for one of our departed colleagues, in person of Mr. Jide Fashigo. We lost him over the weekend and we didn't fit to give him a 1 minute of silence. Please now rise up and give him a 1 minute of silence. Thank you very much. Rest in peace, Alhaji Fashigo. Yeah, before we start fully, I'd like to call on to the high table Mrs. Damilola Pedro, the marketing manager for Milayo Sports Management Company. Okay, the Access Bank representative that we have in our list, Ms. Moyo, please come to the high table, please. Then also the Lagos State Chairman for the Sports Writers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Debu Oshibu. Yeah, we'll start this section with a brief remark from the GM of the Lagos Access Bank Lagos City Marathon. He's going to give us a brief of what to expect in the 2019 Access Bank Lagos Marathon.
Good morning. Good morning, all. I think my job is very simple. Like I said, my job is very simple. Marathon all over the world. We take you from New York Marathon, London Marathon, Berlin Marathon, and you look at the coverage. All you see is from the start to finish, you see a clean field. Starting point, so clean that the only people you see in the front row are the elite runners. But in the last 2 years, at days, before you see 2-3 elites, you see 10 journalists. When you go back to play the video of every previous years, it's either a marathon is being motorized or you have bikes all over. I think that is one of the reasons we said we must do this session. It's not about begging, it's about doing the right thing. And it's very simple. If you don't have accreditation, you cannot be in certain areas. We told Carly Thomas that, and we are going to take it seriously. You must have the right accreditation to be in some certain area. To go back to the finish area, every year, the first runner is coming across the line, we have 10, 15 photographers chasing the guy. We had a section in the full meeting, and Carly told us where the journalists will be, and we've done that. Photojournalists, you'll be at the finish point. We're having a platform elevated for you. You can take all your pictures. If you don't have the right cameras, please go get one, or you cannot be there. I've seen journalists or photojournalists who come to finish area with my type of phone, a Nokia phone, and you want to take a guy that is finishing the marathon. Please, you must go with regulations, and every year IWF don't like what they see at our finish point and our start point. Let's make sure that we grow this event. It's our event. It's not about anybody. At the same time, it's about everybody. If you do well, Nigeria is doing well. And if you don't do well, we all don't do well. Please, and at this point I will beg you, if you don't have the right equipment for the event, you don't have to be there. We love journalists who cover our events, but it's better to cover it rightfully than doing the wrong thing. Are we okay? Thank you very much. If any question, I'll take it later.
Alright, that's just a brief from the General Manager for the Access Bank Lagos City Marathon. Before we hear from Mr. Sowore, I'd like to call on to the high table Mr. Steve Osuji, the publisher of the book Not Too Old to Run. Please let's give him a round. Many people will be surprised to hear that Mr. Sowore has participated in several marathons across the world. He has finished 4 marathon, full marathon, and he has always been part of the Lagos City Marathon. He's going to share his experience with us going into the 2019 Access Bank Lagos City Marathon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I was briefed before coming here not to introduce politics into my speech today. Otherwise, I would have said that the easiest way to conduct the 2019 election would have asked all the presidential candidates to come to the marathon and see who can survive the first 4 miles. Then you vote for the person. Marathons are very, very important. You know, they are very political in nature. You know, cities like New York City, where I've done marathons before, Miami, Philadelphia, rely on marathons as a revenue earner. particularly New York City and all over the world. So political decisions are necessary for successful marathons. But I'm talking to the media today, and I want to ask if there's anybody within the media seated here who's ever done a marathon before. Only one person. So 2, all right. I have done 8 marathons before now, and including the Lagos marathon. I think a year 2017, yes. And my experience was amazing. But what I found out was that, yes, the coverage the marathon got was inadequate. And it was because the journalists first did not understand. A lot of journalists I met on the way did not understand the course. They didn't know where we were running through. The only place they knew was the third mainland bridge. After that, they had no idea. So it's important that you know the course of the marathon, where we're starting from and where we're ending. And the second aspect of it is equipment. I also did not see a lot of journalists who had the right equipment for the marathon. When you are chasing after someone who is running, you cannot be using conventional camera. You have to use things that are digital and that you can catch up with them. I ran a marathon in New York and also covered it for myself. I had a camera on my wrist. Most of you don't have that. And you also have to be fit and agile as a journalist to be able to cover a marathon. So there should have been a training before now that makes it possible for you also to train for the marathon, even if it is to just make sure that you can catch up with the runners. Because there's a lot to cover in the marathon. One other thing that I didn't see happen is that we didn't cover in the one that I attended the people who make the marathon. They are not the runners. They are the people who are watching on the sidelines everywhere you go. And by the nature of that, you will find out the diversity of supporters. You find out that people who are running and covering and sharing on the Ikorodu road are different from when you get on the third mainland bridge, where we were physically almost mobbed by area boys. And this is very true. The other thing I found is inadequate security for the Lagos Marathon, especially after you leave the areas that are popular. And this coverage was also not there because journalists were even afraid of certain. There were black spots on the marathon the last time. One was Oroshoki, and immediately after you leave the third mainland bridge, some boys there who were mobbing people if they could. The third thing, another thing I saw was the fact that wherever there was inadequacy of hydration, apart from the third mainland bridge, you could not find cold water. And I asked one of the organizers, why don't you use cold water? They said a doctor advised against it. If you are running at 27 degrees centigrade and you can't get cold water to cool yourself, then you are going to kill people. That's the truth. So you want to make sure that you are not only covering what the marathon organizers are asking you to cover, but the flaws of the marathon so that they can improve on a yearly basis. There are over 20,000 participants. I don't know how many people are participating this year. But you find out there are over 50,000 who are watching and following. That's a huge amount of participation from both runners and spectators that you cannot afford to leave out. So this was my experience running in Lagos Marathon in 2017. But in other places that I've done it, I also discovered that journalists also are very clinical in determining which of the courses are difficult, which ones are flat. I didn't see that in the coverage that happened in 2000 and subsequent ones and after that. You have to let people understand that when you get to a certain point, it is hard. And these are things that even should come even before the marathon so that people can mentally prepare for it. The one important thing I should say about marathon is that is one of the races I've ever done in sports that has to do with mental capacity. Because after the 15, 16, 17, and 18th mile, you are pretty much running with your brain because the entire body is gone. You are out of salt because you see salt pouring out of your pores, you're losing salt, and then that affects your muscles and you have muscle cramps. If you're running as well as a journalist and you're covering this, you need glucose in your pocket on one side and you need salt in case you run out of salt and you have muscle cramps so that you can catch up with the people who are running. What I need to say finally is that if you're a journalist covering a marathon, you are also running in the marathon. If you are not, then you are not covering the marathon. And running doesn't mean that you'll be physically running, but even if you are on the back of a motorbike, you have to be mentally alert throughout the course of the race to get the best possible coverage for the marathon. And I'm glad that the organizers are starting to arrange on the high table people who look fit. They need to start running marathons themselves, because if you cannot run a marathon, you should not be presiding over marathons. Thank you very much.
Well, you'll be surprised to know that Mr. Olopale has a very fast time. He was at the Dubai Marathon one weekend, and you have to see him when he's in his running shoes. Thank you very much for those insightful comments. Before we allow you to go, we know you have a very busy schedule. One of the things that has been introduced for this year's marathon is
let me talk for you. Thank you very much, gentlemen of the media. I like to say ladies and gentlemen of the media, because we need to stop the sexism in the media. So thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies of the media. If the men don't like it, run the marathon. Well, let me first of all say, the initiative of having this seminar is timely, is extremely important. As you read from my very good friend and brother that I've known from my university days, way back, it is an extremely important aspect of a road race, having the media to support fully in terms of every aspect of the race. I've always said that every marathon in the world is a media event, and you will be ridiculing the media at your own peril. You must give respect to the media. You must, both new media, old media, photojournalists, digital journalists, you must put everyone together and give them the respect that they deserve. And that's why this seminar is extremely important to us, and we thank you all for coming out. Just a few days, we visited the Dubai Marathon. We have this thing with both the Dubai Marathon and a few North American marathons, where ab initio, we have decided that for this marathon to grow at the pace we want it to grow, we must continue to go out to learn. And of course, bring people like runners like Sowore to also give their own insights for us to be able to tie our approach to the best marathons in the world. We've never for once said we live in a utopian world. Hence, when we see these mistakes, we are quick to get on top of them and correct them. I'll give you a typical example. We did have black spots in the first marathon. Sowore was spotted. But I'm sure because he didn't run the last two marathons, he did not notice the huge improvements that were achieved in all of those areas. So much so that this year, we're having over 2,000 North Americans registered coming to run, and over 4,000 people from 58 countries registered coming to run. It is the biggest. As much as we are still on the learning curve, it is the biggest one-day tourist attraction in Nigeria today. I challenge anybody to debate on that. And that is because we've been quick to pick out our weaknesses. In doing our SWOT analysis, we've also picked out the threats. Because the truth is, if you do not do this marathon well, and something goes wrong, all your initiative dies with it. So you must learn. But we've been able to correct it. I was just telling an nephew, a man I respect a lot. So last year he gave us a report as the athlete representative. It was a scalding report. He took Yusuf Ali to the cleaners, took me to the cleaners. I think he only spared my brand manager that I post as the best brand manager in Nigeria, arguably. But he took us to the cleaners. You and I would agree. But he did it in a very objective, in a very simplistic way for us to see the folly in what we were doing. So what have we done this year? We've brought him on board again to be the athlete representative with a focus of correcting those things he pointed out. And I believe the marathon is better for it. I have no doubt that we're organizing the best of the marathon since we started. But this seminar, the focus of this seminar cannot be lost on us. One of the things pointed out to us by experts that came from Estonia, Ukraine, and Lithuania, Azerbaijan, like 6 of them last year, who are people who have been around the world to monitor road races. And the very equipped information we got from an F. Young's classmate, Alessio Ponzi, who is the head of road races in the world, IWF. If that man does not approve your race, your race is rubbish. One thing they pointed out to us was the start area and the finish area. This seminar is actually to capture the essence of a very clean start with waves, which is an area where we need the media to help us explain to Nigerians that the elite runners and people like Sowore with time must go before you guys. It's not that anybody wants to cheat for anybody. In fact, I was shocked to see that Dubai, the elite runners left 1 hour before the other runners were allowed. It is the way it's done everywhere in the world. And the second wave will be people like Sowore with timing. Then the third will be people like Omoyele Sowore with big tummy, who are only in it, who are only in it for the fun of it, to have a laugh. Marathons are about lifestyle. So we want to appeal to the media. We've gotten a lot of stick from you guys with regards to segregating a group of the media from the other. I'm pained that Oni is not here today, and Boja. These are 2 new media guys who are very opinionated and who ordinarily will say we've not done this right. Would always point it out to us. And I think one of the things they pointed out to us was that cameramen, according to them, were harassed during the last marathon. But they were not. Everywhere in the world, my friend here will agree with me, there's only one flagship camera on the TV standing in front of the runner. Only one. I don't know if it was you, said I had a struggle with it last year. It looks like you. But I had a major struggle appealing to this cameraman, and he refused to leave. Guess what happened when the wheelchair just started rolling in? Who was at the finish with us? You were there. What happened was that one of the wheelchair guys rolled in and tore the guy's head into 2. And we had to rush that gentleman to the hospital. That is one of the hazards of not doing it properly. That was a failure on the part of the organizers and on the part of the photojournalists, who ordinarily ought to have applied the rules the way it ought to be applied. And I'm happy my brother here has pointed it out that there are a sophistication that needs to apply to getting this thing done. So please, for the start area, we want it as clean as possible. We have asked Mr. Kali Thomas to strategically accredit photojournalists for the start. And also give accreditation to photojournalists for the finished area. I appeal to you. Sowore spoke about security. We are hard on security this year. It's election year. And we are serious about security this year. Even members of the organizing committee without all access are restricted. And if you are caught in an area where you are not meant to be, you'll be taken away by the police or security. It's done everywhere in the world. Last year, a girl ran for America, ran with an American passport, jumped on the stage and said she ran as a Nigerian, when every documentation we had showed her as running for America. When the year before, she had won $4,000 as an American runner, I paid her. But what did the media do to us? They took us to the cleaners that we wanted to deprive a Nigerian from winning without getting the facts. So this year, the civilian security will do their job, the police security will do their job. In America, that girl would have been arrested for fraud. She would have been thrown off the stage. In the UK, Why Sowore is American and British? In the UK,
I had to correct that.
no, so why Sowore used to live in America for political reasons. I am British, I don't hide that. But the truth is, where he comes from and where I come from, the police will do their job. But priority is given to the media. But we are appealing that please, if you're not accredited for that area, please do not go there. So I saw something in Dubai that I went to check that they also have in New York. The media pavilion for journalists, we have failed totally. And I can tell you from the beginning, we have even failed before. I can tell you from the beginning, we have even failed before the commencement of this Saturday's event. But we've learned a lesson. We saw how the media pavilion is organized. The media pavilion is as important as the VVIP pavilion, where large screen TVs, where all equipment, internet facilities must be put in place for those who are not photojournalists, so that they don't run into the running line of athletes, and they don't run into the non-mixed area of every other person. But that is not the fault of the media, it is the fault of I, the organizer. And we have noticed that, and we're working hard on it. Next year, by the grace of God, I assure you, the place of the media will be put where they deserve, and you deserve the best. Thank you very much for coming to this event.
Let me just say that, Honorable, this year we're having a proper media pavilion for journalists with internet, TV, and everything. So that was
So they've already started correcting it.
And secondly, I'm not making a case for my friend, but the guy that reported that Aqua story.
No, I said the media, I didn't mention it.
Don't worry. Was sacked. He lost his job.
All right, the media deserves the best and the very best they would get. Before we go, like I told you, Sowore is going for another interview. In recognizing the best of journalists and reportage for this marathon, an award has been instituted and to further encourage journalists to do their best as far as covering this marathon is concerned. And today we'll be having the maiden winners for the Ayo Deji Tinubu. We'll be having the maiden award for the Ayo Deji Tinubu Journalist Award. We're calling on Mr. Sowore and Mr. Olopade to come out and do the first presentation. We have three winners for the yeah, we have one.
An access bank.
And a representative of.
Yes. Imoyu.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Moyo, would like to have it outside here too.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. One by one. Mr. All right.
So the first award goes to, so that's the category of the Ayo Deji Pune and May Tinubu Award. I hope that's not Bola Tinubu. Okay, this is good. Because that one doesn't run marathon, I don't know why you're talking about it. So the winner is Solomon Ajuziogu. Solomon Ajuziogu, where are you, please? Come forward, man. Good job. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Let's go.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello. Solo. Solo.
And this goes with a 50,000 naira check.
Solo. Lay down.
You get more money than a runner.
Look up. Solo.
Solomon is on TVC. So it's all related. It's almost everything.
All right, thank you very much. Of course, next year is going to be bigger. We intend to have more categories and more winners.
Gentlemen and ladies, for you to know that we do really appreciate the media, this has come to me as an impromptu, but I want to join the media team to also present specially the Race Organizer Award for the best journalist in not just marathon and athletics. And not just marathon, but athletics all encompassed. And I've similarly picked that winner for a $500 cash prize right now. The best of Charles of the internet.
Congratulations, Mr. Charles.
Jokingly, you just said that maybe other candidates can participate in this year's marathon. What are your expectations? What are you looking for?
You know, marathon is fitness, it's lifestyle, it's health, you know, and of course it's also economic. And anybody who at this point is running for office as president of Nigeria who doesn't recognize the importance of such a great sporting event needs to be invited to understand what it is. That's what I mean. But most importantly, we've had challenges with fitness of our leaders, and maybe a marathon will be a good way to determine who is fit, so that we don't end up with a president that will spend more time in London in the next 4 years.
How do you think this marathon has projected the city?
It depends on how, you cannot tell how well it is until the marathon is over. So it's up to them to make it a successful event. I'm excited to hear that about 2,000 people coming from the US. This is a globally united event if it's well done. And I hope that the organizers are making it so. Thank you so much.